We've heard it today from witnesses, Republican and Democrat alike, that religious persecution harms our national security. And that is just as true when we may be missing or under-identifying national security threats to our own country internally because we are using religion as a basis to identify people for the terrorism watch list. The committee needs to keep pressing on a bipartisan basis to do oversight on the FBI's terrorism watch list until this issue is fixed or until our questions are answered. Dr. Patterson, could you summarize the purpose of this hearing as it was intended to be held?
The purpose of the hearing, as I understand it, is to look at the national security implications of U.S. international religious freedom policy in the state of the globe.
Okay. And Dr. Mobbs?
That's my understanding as well.
Okay, so the summary that I have says, this hearing will examine the administration's oversight of assistance to organizations promoting religious freedom for oppressed religious minorities and others persecuted. The hearing will also examine how global religious persecution presents national security concerns. So one of our top goals today is to have the United States government stop organizations that persecute religious minorities, correct? So if we want the United States to be successful in that, we need to understand exactly what religious persecution looks like. And many of you have given helpful examples today. I want to consider a different example. Let's say like that an organization creates a list of people that it fears is going to commit crimes. And we have that organization says in writing that it's not using religious affiliation. It's just about crimes. But we see the list, we do the analysis, and we can confirm that 98% of the people on the list are part of a single religious minority. Dr. Patterson, could that be an example of the type of religious persecution that we're trying to prevent with this hearing?
If I understand the parameters of what you just said, I think one of the things that we would be concerned about was that, as I understand it, you're talking about preventing a future wrong by going after this group rather than them having committed any crime in the first place. And of course, that's a much larger legal principle that we don't want to go after preventing someone that we might think might do something down the road. And
definitely not based on their, if the main guiding fact seems to be to get on this list being a particular religion as opposed to anything that someone has done, we would be concerned about that. Dr. Mobbs, what do you think about that? Would you want to know more at least?
I would want to know more.
Okay. Ms. Tyler, how about you?
Yes, I mean, I think that hypothetical talks about how one could use religion as a proxy for a security threat, which is a way of singling out a single religion for government disfavor.
Mr. Curry, excuse me.
As I understand it, yes, I agree. Yeah.
Okay. So at the beginning of this hearing, we said it's the United States' duty to do oversight of religious persecution. I gave an example of that we think could at least raise concerns. Let's say we find out that the organization making this list is the FBI, and that the religious minority is Muslims. This is a real-life example. A copy of the FBI's terrorism watch list was leaked, and an analysis showed that 98% of the names on that list are those of Muslim people. Now that we have this specific, do you still think that we should do oversight and the administration should do diligence to make sure that the FBI watch list is targeting people based on risk and not on religion? Ms. Tyler?
Absolutely. I think if we are to defend religious freedom around the world, we must be sure that our government is also defending religious freedom here at home.
Dr. Mobbs?
Absolutely. Being placed on a list should be based on behaviors, predictions, risk analysis, and should not be predicated on religion at all.
Dr. Patterson?
I concur, and I think it's exactly right for Congress to be doing oversight in the first place over the executive branch.
Mr. Curry?
Yes.
So we have a strong consensus here And I hope my colleagues on the other side of the aisle will join with me in asking that the administration give us more information about how they've constructed this list and why the list seems to be based on religion. And if it's not true, that they're able to explain that and answer that to us. We have a duty as a country to do that kind of oversight to stop persecution, and we do not have credibility internationally to take on the kinds of challenges that you've described today if we are not doing it here.